Hola, hola, ¿qué tal? Bienvenidos. Welcome to Lima once again, and welcome to your series dedicated to the most beautiful, most important destinations, touristic destinations in my country, in Peru. I am Vanessa Vasquez, your Lima City tour guide, guiding also in this country for many years. And I decided to prepare this series with the only intention of sharing a bit of Peru, also with anyone who is planning to come in the future to this country, wants to plan, let's say, like where to go, has probably not really much idea about like what are the most important touristic destinations in the country. And also I planned this series for anyone who is curious about learning about Latin America, and in this case about Peru. So if you wish to ask me a question, like any question, of course, I'm here like all the time checking on the chat. And it's a big pleasure, a big delight to also get to know you a little bit better, and also get to know what are your interests, because everyone has different interests, especially when we talk about like countries. My specialty is history, but of course, as a tour guide, we tour guides are trained in giving information about like highlights of different cities and different places. And that's why I've been doing this series. So if you want to see the rest of the series, I already covered Cusco, Lima, Ica. You can also become a Patreon if you subscribe to my Patreon site, and the information is here on the chat and also in the description of this video. With a little donation monthly, a little donation starting at could be $2, 5, 10, or 20. It really depends on your budget. There's no differentiation done at the allowing you to get into the library of videos. You can have full access of these, let's say, webinars I've done on these other sites. So, well, now I would like to continue, and thank you so much those who are joining. As I said before, this event is all dedicated to give information related with these sites. And also, I would like to just, for me, it's a little bit smaller. For you, I think still is big enough to see everything in display in the slides. Today we will talk about Arequipa. We continue with this series. And by the way, coming soon after we finish Arequipa, and Arequipa also will have several parts. We will have this one here, which is sort of like an introduction in geography, location, also in the map of Peru. In the upcoming one, we'll talk about pre-Hispanic history and colonial history. And in the future, upcoming ones, we'll talk about the destinations and places you should see and stories related with those sites. Arequipa is known as the White City of Peru. So today we'll learn why it is named White City. This is the main square of Arequipa with its cathedral, and far in the back we can see the volcano Misti. Not everybody lives at the feet of a volcano. The citizens of Arequipa live at the feet of three volcanoes, not just one. And one of them, the Misti, is still an active volcano. Um, Also, if you can help me like knowing if you can still see the images, that will be super wonderful, because sometimes I show images, I share images, and I don't know why YouTube doesn't display them. So I see I'm sharing, but if you can help me with that, maybe with a reaction, like just to know if you can see them, that would be super. So you are supposed to see images all the way, and not me. So let's continue. And this is to give you an idea of the exact location of Arequipa. So during this event, we will be talking about different Arequipas. We have the department of Arequipa, we have the province of Arequipa, and we have the city of Arequipa. Pretty much like in all cases or most of cases of our departments in Peru, we have homonymous like names of provinces, departments, and cities. We saw that in the case of Cusco, in the case of Lima, and in the case of Ica. So just as a starting point, I would like to first of all begin with the map on the left-hand side. That is the map of the country of Peru. Peru is divided in 24 departments. Nowadays in Peru, we have about 31 million people, and most of the concentration of the population in my country goes to the coast or to the strip of land located next to the ocean, next to the Pacific. So most of the concentration of people in the country is located in Lima. In the department of Lima, which you can see also in the center of the coast, that's Lima, the orange part. But to be even more like in to go more in detail, we actually see that majority of the population within the department is in the red section inside Lima, smaller section, that is the city of Lima. So we have about 10 million people just in the city, over 11 million people in the department. And if we move to Arequipa, which is a much larger, much bigger department, we have way less amount of people living there. About 1.6 million people of the country live in Arequipa. So the demographics of the country are more like a little bit relaxed and less crowded if we go out of the big city of Lima. And also the city of Arequipa, has about 1 million inhabitants. In the province of Arequipa, which is like a much larger, let's say, territory, 1.2 million people. So, as always, the concentration of people will be more like in the urban sections or in the city centers. No, so but also another thing you can notice as we also focus in the coastline of Arequipa. Arequipa has a pretty long coastline. So about 18% of the length of the full length of the coast of Peru belongs exclusively to Arequipa. We have over 3,000 kilometers of coastline in Peru, and over 500 kilometers belong to Arequipa. Is the department with the longest coastline. And that also makes Arequipa a very important producer, exporter of fish and derivatives. Okay, so if we go to the physical map of Peru, the one on the right hand side, we are now like centering, focusing in the territory of Arequipa. You can see the shape of Arequipa there. Arequipa, in comparison to the department we saw like last time, we just finished the series of Ica has this particularity of having one of the widest coasts in the country, because most of the coast is sort of like almost inexistent in Peru, no? And what I'm trying to say with this, I mean, the coast exists as in the maps, for example, but when we think on a coastline, we think on a flat section right next to the ocean, no? Like maybe valleys, for example, that are quite flat, that go, let's say, almost parallel to the level of the sea. Well, Ica, for example, has over 40 kilometers of these valleys, like from the end of the Andes until touching the ocean. That makes that section also very productive in terms of agriculture in valleys in the coast. But Arequipa, if we go now to Arequipa, you can see that has actually a minimal amount of coast as described before. Also, one of the toughest, let's say, and in my opinion, also as a tour guide, trips I've done, like taking travelers also, and it's fun, but not if you do it all the time. If you do it like one time, is great. Like two times maybe, but three more times is like quite tough. Is like the bus ride from, let's say, Nazca, where the lines are located in the south of Ica, like the ride going to Arequipa, to the city of Arequipa, because you have to go parallel to the sea. But what is interesting, and you see that clearly there, the Andes and in the sea. Also, you see like a depression, like from the mountains, like going down, touching the ocean, is incredible. And in those depressions is where the bus has to go. The route of the bus goes there, and it's like a very very interesting. That's the only way I can describe it. Bus ride, and some people enjoy it. Some people don't really enjoy it much. For me, as I said before, it was very fun in the beginning, and then, well, when you do it all the time, like it's not like a that enjoyable, especially if you have a little bit of motion sickness. Okay, so but is for anyone who is into geography, geology. Oh my God, that is really an experience. There are other ways to go to Arequipa, not necessarily by bus, even though I still would suggest to do it, like not 4 times always. You can go by plane also from Lima to Arequipa. A short plane ride of more or less 1 hour will take you directly there. So well, now let's continue. And like now zooming even more, so this shows you the different valleys that Arequipa has, and also the division of Arequipa as a department. Okay, so the departments in Peru are divided in provinces. There's no exception to this, and the provinces are divided in districts. Okay, so you can see, for example, many different provinces. Also, the borders of the department are in the north, Arequipa, Ayacucho, Cusco. In the south is Moquegua. Moquegua is one of the less known departments in the country. Maybe in the future, if you allow me to, I can do a special about, for example, well, the rest of the departments. In this occasion, I plan also in this series to touch just some departments that are most like developed touristically. We will continue also. Next part will be like Puno. We have North Coast. We have Iquitos and the jungle. Okay. So where is the city of Arequipa? Well, the city of Arequipa is, of course, in the homonymous province. Also, once again, you can see in the south, there is a place named Arequipa. Okay, so and in this series dedicated to Arequipa, I'll show you also some other provinces, no, for example, Cayoma and the Colca Canyon, a little bit of Camaná. So, well, we will be like wandering around some of these, let's say, provinces, okay, but with main focus in the province of Arequipa and the city of Arequipa in particular. So well, Arequipa is definitely not your average city in terms of, for example, well, you already know like the coast is very, like it has a really interesting like route for buses. Only tough men can drive those curvy, let's say, routes in the between the cliffs and the ocean. But also Arequipa is located in a highly seismic zone. Um, so, and let me explain why. Okay, and also I would like to check if internet is stable. Seems that the internet is fairly stable. If not, please let me know. Okay, if you don't see me or you don't hear me. Okay. So well, this is Arequipa. Arequipa has lots of earthquakes. No? The seismic activity in Arequipa is over the roof. And why? Well, Arequipa, located in the south of the country, has several active volcanoes. Okay, there are many volcanoes in Arequipa. Many of them are not active anymore, are dormant volcanoes. But we have several that still are active. And as you can see in the map on the left-hand side, the south part of the Andes in Peru, we are located in South America, no? And South America has the Andes from north to south. So Peru is in the portion of the Andes that is considered the Central Andes. Okay, the Central Andes. North Andes will be Colombia, for example, no? Ecuador, Venezuela, and South Andes will be Chile, Argentina. Okay, so we are in the central portion. Also, we share Andes with Bolivia too, no? So the Central Andes, in the south of the Central Andes, there's lots of volcanic activity. And in particular, well, Arequipa also has several of these volcanoes. And also you can see in the map on the right-hand side, the accumulation of energy in the soil. So this part of the country in particular, and you can also see Lima over there, my city. We have like constant movements, earthquakes, either because we have the plate, the Nazca plate, impacting the one of the continent. That's one. That's because of the Ring of Fire of the Pacific where we are located. And additionally to that, well, in the case of Arequipa, the volcanic activity for them is normal. They don't even like stand up from the chair if there's a little tremor. So well, not everybody can live in a city like that. Like Arequipeños, people from Arequipa, they call themselves to be very, very brave, very strong, and they are indeed. They have quite a temper. And they said that is because they are born at the feet of volcanoes. So a little bit of the elevation. This chart also I've been using it a lot to give you an idea of the elevations in the country. This chart was created in the 1940s. So you can see, for example, different locations. No, we see Arequipa, which is at 2,335 meters above sea level. Also, that is the city of Arequipa, about 7,660 feet. So that city is the city that will receive you if you go by plane to Arequipa, to this destination. And its elevation is not extremely high in terms that, well, you should not be concerned of not acclimating before going to Arequipa if you are worried about the altitude sickness. Arequipa still is an manageable level, and also is highly recommendable that if you are coming to Peru and you have the time to do like a longer visit, not just going straight to Cusco, that you can include also cities like Arequipa in your process of adaptation, slow adaptation to the elevations. But also Arequipa has mountains, in this case volcanoes. So I wanted to put an example of the Misti volcano, which is probably the most beautiful mountain we have in the department of Arequipa, and one of the most beautiful mountains in the country. So Misti elevates at 5,822 meters above sea level. That's over 19,000 feet above sea level. So its elevation puts it also in the region Janca or Cordillera, so which is the highest level according to this there's a segregation by elevations. So it's the highest of the country. By the way, as an example, also I put the name of the highest mountain in Peru, which is not in the department of Arequipa. So is the Huascaran mountain, which elevates at 6,768 meters above sea level. Is in the department of Ancash, by the way. So well, Arequipa also has well a coastline, so we will talk about well the different say realities of Arequipa. But first, let's focus a little bit on this picture. And well, this is the Campiña Arequipeña, no, the beautiful valley, the flats of Arequipa, very fertile also. And in the distance, we can see the Misti, the volcano Misti. Misti is definitely one of the most beautiful volcanoes that exist in the world. It's is a perfect cone, no, like a perfect cone, no? Like most volcanoes, because of their eruptions, also they had in their history, they are like not looking so nice, so Instagrammable. But this one could be like a model of volcano. And the surprising part is the Misti is still active. It's an active volcano. I remember so far that the last time like it was active was in the 80s, so far I remember. But basically is an active volcano that is in this moment at peace. No? And the volcano is about 18 kilometers away from the city. So it's around the corner. It's very, very close. And it's covered with snow, making it also even more beautiful. So the Misti is known as one of the guardians of the city of Arequipa. There are three volcanoes around the city. This is one of them, the most famous. And the name Misti comes from, it seems like a deformation of the word mestizo or mixed, but also some say that it could be related with, for example, the more fair skinned person, like a more lighter skinned person, in comparison to the indigenous people who well reside in that location. And because Misty seems to be a name more like colonial, used since the colonial times on. And well, Misty could refer to like a gentleman, fair skinned gentleman or white skinned gentleman, man. Um, and also, the word Misty was used during the colonial times to denominate a men of high status. No? So, why white color? Why like referring to someone fair skin? Well, because Misty has snow on the top. Also, it's white on the top. So probably that's the reason why it was referred to this gentleman, this man of fair skin. So, well, as I said before, this is a guardian and also an Apu protector of the city. Also, there are tours, trekkings that go to the Misti, to certain, of course, elevations, not to the very top, but there are expeditions done of several days to go to well the highest possible elevation that is safe for travelers. So let's continue with the next one. So this is the Chachani. Chachani. So if you look, so if you're standing from the main square and you position to look to the Misti, the Chachani is on the left hand side. And the Chachani mountain also has, well, like as most volcanoes, they are like let's say like parts that seems that have exploded, like it's not even, it's not a perfect volcano. Also it has like two main peaks, oh sorry, four main peaks there, four main peaks. And Chachani means brave or valiant, brave, courageous. And its height is 6,057 meters above sea level. In feet, that's about 19,870 feet. Okay, I'm trying also to cover my American audience here. So, well, also, Chachani is quite close to the city, a little bit more distant than Misti, but still, and in a moment I'll share with picture that made your skin like having like like goosebumps, I think you call it. These many volcanoes, one of them still active, but the other were too, like, and seeing the city also so close is wow. So I remember also reading about the volcano of the Chachani, that the last time this volcano was active was about 16,000 years ago. No? So it's not going to, I hope, no, like re-emerge any sooner. No, it's already as a sleeping volcano. So next one, this one is also very, very pretty. The name given to this volcano is Pichu Pichu. And maybe this reminds you to the name of the famous archaeological site that is known as a world wonder of Peru, Machu Picchu. Okay, so Machu Picchu comes from the Quechua. Machu means old, and Picchu is mountain. In front of the Machu Picchu mountain, and the side also is another mountain called Huayna Picchu. So young mountain. So what we have as a resulting of this, that Picchu means mountain. So this volcano, also due to explosions, it has a total of seven peaks, and there are two that are more prominent, more important. So probably that's the reason why the locals call it Pichu Pichu, mountain. Mm. So well, there are also expeditions organized, well, to the Chachani, to the Pichu Pichu, as well as to the Misti. They don't happen every day, but well, they can be organized, of course, according to your requests. And there are different companies that offer that in Arequipa. The elevation of this one is 5,664 meters above sea level. In feet, 18,583 feet elevation. So well, and also this is like the view of behind, let's say, the city, no, like on the other side of the mountains and the peaks. So that elevation, that zone is quite high, and is more like a plateau. Okay, so there are lakes and there are mountains, but it's naturally not very green, no, so because of its elevation. um we have also creatures fully adapted to living in those conditions. I'll share with you some in a moment. So if we go a little bit more distant from the city section, but still not extremely too far away, we're still in Arequipa, of course. We see also two other famous volcanoes. Okay, so we have the Sabancaya. Sabancaya, well, you cannot go or access to this mountain like doing trekkings because it is quite active. From all of the ones I've been mentioning, this is the one that is a little bit more concerning. And Sabancaya, which also means in English, volcano that spews. Okay. Because it's all the time like active, no? So you always get to see, or most of the time you get to see with a little smoke on top. Okay, that shows that is active. Is at 5,975 meters above sea level, 19,603 feet the elevation. So, well, is as I said before, a very important volcano, also important in terms of like traditions and history and legend. And more like recently in our history, it became very important to the discovery of a mummy that nowadays is protected, is cared also very much in Arequipa. There is a museum that also has this mummy, and the mummy was discovered at the peak of this other volcano. No, this is another volcano, but it's now like dormant. It's sleepy. It's not anymore active. The name of this volcano is Ampato. Volcano Ampato was a home for hundreds of years of a mummy that now we know as the mummy of Ampato, also known as Juanita, or the Ice Maiden. So you can find her under those names. She was discovered there. And why? Well, the relation between Sabancaya and Ampato is, first of all, that they are very, very close. Very, very close. And this one is not anymore an active volcano, but seems that one of the, like let's say, situations in which the volcano became active, no, the temperatures like raised in the elevations, influenced the smokes, also influenced the top of the mountain Ampato, melting the ice from that mountain and exposing the mummy that was put there actually during the times of the Incas. Okay, so the girl, this was according to the investigations done in the mummy, the girl had about 15 years old, and she walked from Cusco, probably from the house of the chosen women of Cusco, as a present, as a gift to the gods. This also coincides with the time of like extreme drought, like there was no good agriculture in those times, and the Incas utilized as a last source to move the hearts of the gods, to change the minds of the gods and gain their favor. Their last source was human sacrifices, and not of anyone that was just passing in front of them, of the most precious creatures they had, which were the princesses of the sun. And these princesses of the sun were chosen, were taken from their communities. We don't know exactly like the way of selection of these princesses, but it's believed that, well, this was a high honor for the child and the family to be chosen to be able to be trained, and also because these girls were like nuns in a way, and they were separated from the world. Okay, and they were put to live, to reside in houses like nunneries. Okay, and not all of them were sacrificed. So from that group of girls, that some of them were married to important generals and important people. Also, they were sort of like used as trade for like a pacification, like if you know, I give you my princess of the sun, you marry her, and we are in peace, no? So something like that. They also were put to produce textiles, no, and fabrics for the Inca, for the exclusive use of the Inca king. And some of them were sacrificed. And this is the smallest group, actually, the most selected group. So this girl walked from Cusco, probably months it took this trip to the mountain Ampato. She climbed up the mountain with a group of priests also, and authorities, Incan authorities, that guided her to the top of the mountain. And at such elevation, of course, you are like half breathing, you are really, and these people, they didn't have like proper clothes for the altitude, oxygen tanks, nothing like that, no. So to be able to reach out that elevation so high, so close to the top of the mountain, she was chewing coca leaves. That is something that we still use, also this product in Bolivia, in Peru, to mitigate the problems of the lack of oxygen in such elevations. No, so while she was chewing coca, probably given chicha, this fermented corn drink, to keep her like sort of like conscient, and relaxed. And then after, she was sacrificed. She was given to the gods. The most typical way to do a sacrifice like that one, at that elevation, was just giving a big hit, on the back of the head, uh, breaking actually the skull. And well, she will faint, like sleeping. So, and they were deposited, in there, and holes made by these people, and left. So, and that was supposed to be the most important sacrifice the Incas could do, to the gods, asking them to change climatic patterns that were out of the normal. So well, this discovery, I think later we will be talking about this discovery in detail, about Johann Reinhardt, the discoverer of the mummy, with Mr. Zarate, also a Peruvian. They both discovered this lady. And well, I just want to give you an idea of all of this context, because I already mentioned the lady of Ampato, and how important was that, well, the Sabancaya exploded, or became active, for like across, in this other mountain, the body of this maiden would be, found. No, so well, another thing interesting is the name Ampato. I was looking for the translation of the word Ampato, into English, from Quechua. So the most common, explanation is, that it means frog. That somehow it had the shape of frog. This hill, this volcano. So well, now let's see some, maps. I have two, like, aerial maps from Google, Maps, and you can see, first of all, in this one, clearly, I hope, all the volcanoes are mentioned. Like, let's start, for example, on the top, right hand side. So first of all, something I didn't mention yet is Colca River and the, Colca Canyon. So that is the location of, Colca, Canyon, which is going to be part also of this series. Then you can see the two arrows, sort of like in the center upper part. One, says Sabancaya, and the other one says Ampato. So we have here those two, mountains. And then we have, on the lower section, we have the Chachani on the lower part, and we have the Misti, like more going to the lower, let's say, corner on the right hand side, the Misti. Behind the Misti is located the National Reserve Salinas and Aguada Blanca. It's a reserve that also has lots of vicuñas. And those are very important also to be explained. I'll explain a little bit about them in a moment. You see also the Pichu Pichu volcano, with its quite interesting shape, like a half moon shape. And you can see Arequipa, also highlighted now in the bottom, in the circle in the bottom. Arequipa City, as I said before, is just 18 kilometers away from Misti volcano. You can see also the river that cuts the city into, well, that's the route of the river out of the city, is the Chile River. No? So they are, I think, touristically talking, as a touristic destinations, there are two valleys that are important. The valley of Colca River, which also at some point like becomes a valley after being a canyon, high in the mountains, a canyon, and then coming lower to the sea level, almost like it becomes like more flatter, like a valley, more wide, more open. And then also Chile River, which is the one that cuts the city Arequipa in two. And here we have also another zoom, this time into, well, the city of Arequipa. You can see it again. You can see the three guardians of Arequipa, Chachani, Misti, Pichu Pichu. And you can see, I like sort of like pointed with an arrow, a section. Like, can you see that that section has a more like lighter skin material, lighter color, not skin, lighter color material there. Also, it looks like almost white. So what I'm pointing out in that direction is sort of like close to a location that is quite famous now in the touristic circuits in Arequipa, is the quarry of a material that has been used like since the arrival of the conquistadors in to that location in the architecture, and that is the reason why Arequipa is known as the White City, Ciudad Blanca. Also, another exception, another explanation is White City because there were many Spaniards who moved towards that direction. And well, probably that's why, because there were so many Europeans, people started to call it the White City, the city of the Europeans. But most people agree in the fact that Arequipa is the White City because its architecture is white color, looks white, no? And well, this is the material, no, that makes Arequipa looking so white. Okay, so well, this is the sillar. Okay, the sillar is a pyroclast. Pyroclast. Um, it comes from volcanoes. Is of course different to magma. Magma is like liquid stone, like liquid rock, because of the pressure and the temperatures. It becomes like liquid, and it's quite heavy. Like when it dries out of the volcano, when it's spit out of the volcano, or it comes down, basically comes down. It's not a spit because it's just like melting, not like butter. When it dries, is quite heavy. It's quite like hard. But the pyroclast comes from a different material that comes also from the volcano. It's more like related with gases. It's more like the part of the explosion, the material that exploded, and the gases that cool down and solidify somehow. Like there is a process of condensation of the gases, turning into this material that is white. Okay, and it also has trap pieces of rock inside, but it's mainly white color. Okay, so this is a wall in the city of Arequipa, and well, Arequipeños are very proud of this material. They use it quite a lot. And they have a quarry very, very close to Arequipa, this one here, Añas Huayco Quarry. It is part of a circuit, also a touristic circuit in Arequipa. You can see also the people working there, like extracting the blocks of sillar. We call this material sillar. And the word Añas Huayco, I found it quite interesting. It means Valley of Foxes. Añas is fox, Añas Huayco, the Valley of the Foxes, or the site of the foxes. So, well, from this quarry, well, comes the material to build most of the architecture of Arequipa, for the restoration also of the old architecture, if it's the case. So this material is excellent. For example, in summer, it keeps inside the buildings cool, and during the winter traps the heat and releases it in the interior. So it's an excellent, very, very pleasant material, especially for Arequipa. So pretty, no? So later in the future, we will be seeing more of the architecture made from sillar. Not today. So we have also a reserve, which is behind the Misti. This reserve is known as Natural Reserve Salinas y Aguada Blanca. Reserves like this one were created with the intention of preserving, back then in the 70s, like a dropping number of vicuñas and specimens typical from the high plateaus, from the Andes, which were endangered because of the excessive hunting of these creatures. So you can see, well, basically that this is like the location of this site looks like high plateau with vegetation that is exposed to high radiation, not really much rain in that location. It's a high plateau, no? But there's also like melting like a water from the glaciers in the location that also produces rivers. There is a short rainy season there. So, well, this is like a little bit of the reality of the high plateaus in the Andes. So the territory that occupies, well, this reserve is 3,936 hectares. Well, it is huge. Almost, let's say, 400,000 hectares of territory. No? Huge territory protected. The vicuñas, the good news is that the number is growing. There are now thousands of exemplars also living in that location. And if you know what is a vicuña, okay, so we have two different specimens here. They are related, like they have an ancestor in common millions of years ago. These paleolamas that came from after crossing the Bering Strait and coming down to South America, and they stay in this location and they evolve in this location into different species. So from those paleolamas, we have the famous llamas, alpacas, vicuñas, and guanacos. Okay, actually, to be more fair, well, the vicuñas that you see in the picture on the right hand side and the alpacas that are in the left hand side, they are related. Oh, and the vicuñas are the ancestors, let's say, of the alpacas. So the vicuñas are wild, and the alpacas are sort of like domesticated vicuñas. So they are a variation of the vicuña that was selected by humans. And also you can see that vicuñas have like a short hair naturally. The alpacas, they have long hair, and that is also part of the modification done by selection, by not natural selection, by human selection. The ones that have had the longest hair, they were separated. We're talking about thousands of years of segregation of these species. And finally, well, they depend on humans to cut their hair, because they just keep growing and growing and growing their hair. So they depend on us for like taking off that excess hair. In the case of the vicuñas, they have also a process of shaving, but it's not, let's say, for their subsistence. No, they can just grow wild and free. But the reason why we shave the hair of the vicuñas is because their hair is very expensive. We shave them, well, not like me. I mean, Peruvians, and some Peruvians, they have the permission because they belong to indigenous communities that are close or proximate to the locations where naturally vicuñas live. They have the permission of once a year do a chaku. Chaku is a sort of like a ceremony in which all the people of the community goes after the vicuñas, because they love to run wild and free and far away from people. So they just live in the reserves. And this day, well, these communities have access to these reserves with representatives of the government also. They trap the vicuñas, like they hold hands, like we're talking about thousands of people, like holding hands and trapping these vicuñas inside the circles. And there are people, specialists, who come inside, take them also, trying to minimize as much they can the sort of like the pressure, I mean the stress of this moment. They take them and they shave the hair only in the front. That hair you see in the front part, that is the most valuable part of this vicuña. But you cannot kill them, or you cannot harm them, and these chacos have to be done supervised. So we sell, and Arequipa also sells vicuña wool that benefits the communities, but not as much as it should. This vicuña wool is exported to fashion houses like Loro Piana, for example, and they can make a sweater in vicuña like with a value of, I don't know, like 10,000 euros, for example, or more. And there's people who pay that money for those sweaters. And vicuña, because they are so precious, the wool of vicuña never dies. Is never die. Okay, so I'm trying to reformulate my word. So you never see it in a coloration that is not natural. Okay, so for example, you can see those scarves down; those are made from vicuña, and they are also natural. They come from like the natural coloration of the hair. Alpacas, in the other hand, and now going to the left, alpacas also have very fine wool, especially the variant that is called baby alpaca, which is like the hair of young alpacas that are cut their hairs like the first two times. No, their hairs are cut. That is considered baby alpaca, and that is the finest. So also very expensive. But alpaca, you can find it in different colors. Okay, and okay, so and here we have, well, Colca Canyon and Colca Valley, just to give you an idea how well the canyon, like in its highest point, which it really goes quite high, over 4,000 meters above sea level, close to 5,000 meters above sea level, in its highest elevation. It goes down until 2,000 meters above sea level, more or less. Mhm. And it's known as the deepest canyon in the world, even though that also gets into conflict with some other locations in the country. We have two very deep canyons also that fight for that denomination. But indeed, it is a very, very deep canyon. Later on, I'll tell you more about it, because we'll approach more as a touristic destination also, like towards this site. Okay. And what you can do in Colca Canyon, and also in Chile Valley, in Chile River, is, well, the rafting. So rafting is an activity that is very fun, is quite entertaining, and but there's differences. There are differences between like the levels of rafting in each one of the rivers. For example, I've done rafting in Chile River, and with my daughters also. So it was very, very fun. Everybody loved it. One of my daughters didn't love it much because she's not very adventurous, but my other two daughters loved very, very much doing that. So I think like for beginners, well, you have like Chili River, and you have Colca, and rafting in Colca is needs a little bit more like sort of like expertise. Okay, so that's another thing you can take in consideration also, and that's related with the geography also. No, like we have rapids there that are very good for rafting, and that's from due to the inclination also, and the amount of water in the rivers. And well, over here we have some of the products that are produced in Arequipa, that make Arequipa also famous. No, from all of the ones you see here, I would incline for the olives as my favorite Arequipeñan product. Olives, and also olive oil. So you cannot leave Arequipa without a bottle of extra virgin olive oil. But also, due to the, well, the sort of like this soil, no, of Arequipa, no, the sediments related also with the eruptions of volcanoes. So that soil is very good for onions, for garlic also, particularly onions, garlic, and we have artichokes also there. which are also one of my favorite products to consume. And as we're going down, we were in the valley, and now we are at the beach level. No? So Arequipa has lots of elevations, like from the uh, mountains, volcanoes. We have the high plateaus. We have valleys. Also, we have beaches. So Camaná is probably the most popular beach in the department of Arequipa. Most Arequipeños visit Camaná also. As for example, we in Lima, we also go to the beach, but the current is cold because it's the Humboldt current. But as you can see, that doesn't stop us to go to the beach, especially on summer when temperatures can be quite high. People enjoy going to the ocean. And here we can see, well, another beach, Moyendo, which is also another of the favorite beaches that there are also in Arequipa for locals from Arequipa, and also from for visitors from other parts of Peru that know the best beaches, Moyendo. And we have also for bird watchers, Lagunas de Mejia, which is a location Ramsar. Um, Also, Salinas and Aguada Blanca, and this location, Lagunas de Mejia, are both Ramsar sites. For those that know what a Ramsar site is, you might be wondering, like, wow, that is a really interesting thing. If you don't know what Ramsar is, it's okay. It's a denomination given to places of value in terms of like creatures, endemic animals, and especially birds. Okay. For example, most of my birders, I also do birding tours in Lima. Birders are looking usually for those Ramsar places because they know that those are sites of migration, for example, of birds, or they have interesting like endemic birds. Also, for example, in Lagunas de Mejia, every once in a while you can see flamingos, like for example in this picture. And those are places to be protected because we're talking about like lagoons of brackish waters, combination of salty and sweet water, fresh water. So those offer like special foods, no, like for the diet of these birds, which are necessary also for their existence. If we get rid of all of those lagoons in the coast, well, many of these creatures are in big danger, okay, of disappearing. And last but not least, I said before that Arequipa produces, of course, like in the valleys, lots of crops and let's say products that are locally consumed and exported internationally. Also, fishing is a very important activity for the economy, the local economy of Arequipa. And I think, well, the most important, and also, well, it really conflicts us, puts us in a crossroad, is mining. And mining is very, very important for Arequipa. Mainly copper is also extracted, no, from the subsoil. Copper, molybdeno, gold, zinc, but number one is copper. Okay, so well, I hope that this gives you a good introduction to Arequipa, to its geography, what you can find there in Arequipa, why is an interesting place to visit, and remember that, well, next time I'll telling you more about history, like pre-Hispanic history, especially of Arequipa, the reason of the name of Arequipa, and so on. Okay, if you have questions, there you have my email, my social medias. Also, here you can see on the chat my link to Patreon if you wish to support there. That would be really wonderful. Like if in case you want to see the rest of the series that I've done, and also the future parts that will be saved there. And also, if you wish to support with a donation, any amount is highly, highly appreciated and helps really a lot in, well, helping me continue doing these events. So I'll remove this one here. And well, thank you so much. Also, you can help me with a thumbs up. You can help me with a comment, maybe on another video or in this one, because this one is going to be available for one full day. And then, well, the next one will come and we'll also continue. So that's the way also I can get in touch with more people. And well, thank you so much for staying like for 1 hour with me here. I hope you enjoyed learning about Arequipa and a bit more about Peru. Oh, so well, until tomorrow, until the next time, if you're not able to come tomorrow, it was really a pleasure to have you. See you soon. Bye bye from Lima, Peru. Take care. Ciao. Gracias. Thanks for your participation.